pay your sales and marketing people? So it's not just salespeople, but marketing people. Why can't they sell and bring in business? And so how do you pay them carries on from, the training that they need for, first of all, for themselves and about how to sell, then from their company or your company on what's needed internally for them to sell, to give them the ammunition to sell, and also talking to clients and overcoming objections and understanding all of that process too. And then therefore, how do you pay your sales and marketing people? Well, here's a great quote I love from, unfortunately, the deceased George Carlin now. I loved him as a Canadian. Most people work just hard enough not to get fired and get paid just enough not to quit. And that's probably true of 98% of people who are in the workforce, and that's why people want to retire early no matter what they do. But it's very, very true, unfortunately. And so I always believe in this phrase that what gets paid gets done. So what you want to do is pay people for the results that you want. And so that's true whether it's salespeople, admin people, R&D people, no matter who it is in your company. Everybody should get paid in results. If you're a business owner, you know that you only get paid on results. If you don't have any business coming in, you don't get paid. So not everybody is responsible for bringing in business, but they still should be paid on results to help you grow your business better. So what you need to do is figure out what results you want. Now, with sales and marketing people, that's usually, with salespeople, it's usually revenue or gross profit or possibly units. I mean, as an example, you may have a loss leader or a break-even leader in sales. And so what you want to do is still pay the people on it. I think the biggest group on that is insurance agents, where they get paid something like 110% of the first year's premium of an insurance policy. And then after that, they only get like 5 or 10% of the policy. So the idea is the hardest part is getting that premium in the door, and insurance companies realize that, and that's why they pay so well, over and above really what it's worth. So you have to figure that out. I talk to so many people who want to get results, but they're not willing to pay. Oh, we'll put you, technology people in particular, who have technology companies. Oh, we want somebody to come in the door and we'll pay them 10% of whatever they bring in. Well, on straight commission, who wants to do that on a $1,000 sale? I mean, you've got to make, thousands of sales just to, break even if it's a $100,000 sale, which is going to take a lot more time. You've got to pay on the results you want, but you also have to pay on what it's worth to the salespeople and what it's worth to the company. So let's suppose you do have a $100,000 product or a $1 million product. What if you paid the salespeople 50%? Because you know that you're going to get that money year in and year out, and then you can cut it back. The salespeople aren't getting as much. Now, somebody else, or they may look after the account, and it'd be up to them, and you keep paying them on that. But that's what people don't do. They don't pay on results. And then you've got to look at what is each result worth. Well, bringing in a new client is worth a lot, and you've got to keep bringing in new clients because your old clients are going to leave you one way or the other. They go out of business. They outgrow your business. They get bought. Who knows? A new CEO comes in, or somebody who is in charge of that department decides that they've got a better vendor they want. So there's all kinds of reasons that you need new clients. And what is each result worth? And a new client, which is the hardest to get, obviously, is worth a lot to you. So you've got to look at that. And then pay accordingly. Even admin people, I always pay them 20% of their salary on getting results for them and the company. As an example, I used to pay my admin people back in the 80s to learn Word, as an example. They had to learn how to use Word. They had to learn how to use, and we had different types of programs back then for Word. It wasn't just in a bundle of things, but those kinds of things. How to use Excel. And today you want to pay accordingly too. Your marketers, you want to pay on leads. And then possibly pay them more on qualified leads. And then pay them a bit more based on results that the company brings in. So you've got to pay accordingly to what results you want. So how do you measure these results? Well, you measure it based on what is needed. And you tell them up front, here's what I need from you. Here's what I want from you. Here's what you have to get. So let's sit down and see how we can do that. And as I mentioned, even salespeople, or obviously salespeople, and that too. So And there's different ways, by the way, on paying people, and I'll talk about that in a sec. You could pay them based on revenue, and I think you should pay your salespeople based on revenue, not necessarily gross profit, because most companies set their own gross profit. And pay your marketers. Part of their pay should be on revenue too, or you can pay them gross profit. And you got to make sure they do the expected work. As an example, sales and marketing people just don't do, they have to do all the background work in order to drive revenue. As an example, with CRM systems now, salespeople hate filling those out, as do marketers. So pay part of their salary part as the fact that they got to fill those out all the time. I like a 50-50 split where you pay a salesperson 50% of a salary and 50% based on a gross profit or whatever their quota is that you want them to bring in, revenue or whatever it is. And that's based on that. So if they have to make 100 units and you pay them $100,000 for bringing in those 100 units, 50% of that should be based on bringing in those 100 units. If they bring in 80 units, then they get 80% of $50,000. If they bring in 150 units, then they get 150% of $50,000. So you have to pay them based on overachieving too, and that's true with marketers. And that's the trouble with marketers. People don't measure enough. There's so many tools you can measure now. So you got to pay on results, and you got to know how to measure those results. And if you want some help on this, please let me know, because I have all kinds of ideas that will help you grow your business a lot faster than you've ever grown before, based on what we've talked about before, about training and paying, etc. Remember, people, what gets paid gets done.